Greetings, brothers and sisters. My name is Rosfar Nayabengi, and today I'll be talking to you all about the importance of prayer and the science of prayer and why we should be praying correctly. So, what is prayer? Prayer is an invocation or act that seeks to activate a rapport with an object of worship through deliberate communication. Let me read that again. Prayer is an invocation or act that seeks to activate a rapport of an object of worship through deliberate communication. So, in the simplest term, prayer is communicating with something. In my opinion, and actually it's not even an opinion, it's actually a fact, over 93% of the world, and that's a big number, over 93% is not praying correctly. Over 93% of the world, not just the country, not just the state, but the world is not praying correctly. Like I said, prayer is, in the simplest terms, communication. Where can we see ways that we're communicating with the world? Let's think about our five senses. When we touch something, hot or cold, it's communication. It sends a signal to our body to let us know the temperature of whatever we're touching. That's the first sense, right? When we hear something, the hearing, it sends a signal to our eardrums to let us know that sound has entered our body. It's a communication. A sound is communication to our eardrums. When we smell, and many of us while we're fasting, we may even be smelling something, and it gives us a taste of what we're smelling, because when you're fasting, our senses are heightened. So when you smell something, it is communication to the nasal, to the nasal cavity, right? So these are communications. These are senses. When we taste something, it is communication to our taste buds to let us know whether something is savory, salty, sour, whatever the case may be. It's a communication to our taste buds. And when we see, our sight, it is communication. It is sending communication to our brain to let us know what we are seeing is real. So these are five senses that we as humans were communicated throughout the day, not even knowing some of the times, or not having the science, I should say, to know the correlation on what we're doing and the science of the communication to our body, even down to plants, right? So you don't have to necessarily be a human, because I could say the same senses, the five senses, to an animal, right? Because we pretty much share the same senses with an animal, and in some ways, animals, due to their animalistic animalistic primal tendencies, they typically, those senses are heightened, due to survival. And when we're in survival, our senses become heightened. Like I said, when we're fasting, that's a form that our body put us in survival, survival mode, to where our senses are heightened. And so even with a plant is in direct communication with the sun to get nutrition, right? Also the moon. So we can see in the world that we're communicating, with the world. And those senses help us to communicate with our higher self, to continue to survive, Two, continue to manifest things that we need to manifest and achieve the things that we need to achieve. And so what is communication? Communication is an exchange of information, sending or receiving information to something or someone. Let me read that again. Communication is an exchange of information, sending or receiving information to something or someone. Like I said, the five senses, or the sun and the moon, that we could obviously see because we're in direct communication with the sun and the moon as well too. And so in order for you to communicate, this is the kicker, you have to be communicating to something that's real. Something that you can see with your sight, something that you can smell, something that you can touch, something that you can touch, smell, see. What was the last two? Something that you can hear. And then lastly, something that you can taste. That's communication. So how is this tying into prayer? Like I said, prayer is a communication towards something or someone. And so prayer can only be effective if you're praying to something that's real. It has to be something that you can see, touch, smell, hear, taste, all of those good things. And so many of us, we are praying to something that we don't see, that we can't touch, that we can't hear, that we can't taste. And we wonder why we still feel empty. In my opinion, the best form of prayer would be meditation. And I know a lot of y'all are like, why meditation, right? Because in meditation, you're communicating with your higher self. You're communicating, you're focusing on your higher self. And so when we are in meditation, typically our senses are heightened because the same form that we've been taught with prayer is the closing of the eyes. When you close your eyes, it sends a signal. It's communicating a signal to your brain to let you know that you're in meditation mode. It is sending a signal, right? And so for us to be aware of that signal, many of us, we close our eyes before, and that's when we give our intentions, and that's when we ask, and that's when we seek, forgiveness and all of those good things, right? And even in meditation, they teach us to close your eyes, to send that signal of being in a meditative prayer mode. Meditation is not just communicating with your higher self, because like I said, it's sending and receiving, right? So when we meditate, we're envisioning, we're closing our eyes, we're envisioning whatever we're trying to manifest. But then we're also listening because it's not talking. Typically when we pray, we're talking, but we don't, some of us, after we finish praying, we get up and we go throughout our day. And we wonder why we have bad communication with other people, because we're not practicing listening. Listening is a form of communication as well, too. And so, like I said, prayer, the best form of prayer is meditation. Now, of course, it's different forms of meditation, right? It's depending on however you form your meditation, depending on the positionings of the meditation, it can be essential to the brain, such as when we pray as Muslims and as Orthodox Christians and Jews, and many other faiths as well too, that bump their head, right? The bumping of the head. Why? Some people just do certain forms and not even know the science of why they're doing it, because their parents taught them and they don't know their science, and the parents didn't even know the science because this hearsay. A lot of this prayer and religion was first based off of oral tradition. So, and we know in hearsay, after you keep hearing hearsay, the science watered down, because it's not as crisp. And so when we bump our head, it's sending a message to our brain, to our pineal gland, however you want to say it, pineal gland, to activate brain function so that we can be able to manifest the things that we want to manifest. So that's just physical science facts. That's all. I believe that, when you're meditating and you're praying, that's the best form that you should do. Everything else, that's your opinion, But as far as the bumping of the head, it actually sends a signal to your pineal gland, sends signals to your brain, stimulates signals to your brain so that you can be able to manifest the things that you want to manifest. And why is this important? If we focus on those senses to our body, we're able to activate better signals and achieve and manifest whatever we need to achieve and manifest. Even down to the times that we pray, it is important. Looking at the sun, certain times of the day, the sun is in certain rotations, and I may have I'm gonna have a longer video about that. But I just want to give y'all just the science of prayer. I'm not going to go too far on the time of why we should pray and the time and the importance of why we should pray on certain times just on this video. But I want to give you the science of prayer that we can get out of the hearsay and actually find the science so we can achieve the things that we need to achieve in this world. And so if you like this video about the science of prayer, about how to correctly pray, about prayer is communication. In order to communicate with something, it has to be real. You have to see it, you have to touch it, you have to smell it, you have to taste it, you have to hear it, in order for that science to be efficient in your life, and in order for you to actually believe your prayer. Because a lot of us just pray, ask, seek forgiveness, seek direction, seek all of these things, don't know where they're asking to, don't know who they're asking to, and don't have an actual connection on their communication. If I'm communicating with someone, I know that that person is there. I know that I can hear that person. I know after that conversation or before that conversation, we're greeting each other. We're touching each other. We're hearing each other. We're seeing each other. We're feeling each other. We're tasting the actual spirit of each other, don't go too spooky on me, y'all, but we're tasting the actual, like sometimes a word can be so stimulating. I don't know about many of y'all, but I know me, when the message be so stimulated, my brain started it gives that tingling sensation, just as well as if I were to eat something really good, it gives you that tingling sensation. So we know that words can fill you. So, like I said, I just want to give y'all the science of it. Not going to be too long. If y'all like it, please like, share, subscribe, comment down. Let me know what you feel as far as what type of forms you do in prayer. And so we can push this message on proper prayer. Peace, y'all.